right.
All right, so we're joined by class of 2020. Graduate of Velma Jackson, wearer of so many hats while she was here. We call her Big Mama, but she's also known as Mekiyla Brown, current student at Alcorn State University, graduate of Hines Community College, and was involved in so many things here at Velma Jackson High School. We're recording this for our college career readiness class, all of our juniors and seniors, all of our friends at Madison Central, Ridgeland, and Germantown, and our YouTube channel. So thank you again. You joined us in the fall. We're glad to have you back in the spring.
It's my pleasure to be here. Okay. Let's see.
Now, I know you had a presentation for us talking about your journey from high school to college, because it was a cool one, and you've done some really cool things since you've left.
I have. Let's see, can I? One second. Okay, here we go. Alrighty, for those who don't know me and for those that do, I will reintroduce myself. My name is Mekiyla Brown. I am a 2020 graduate, which is the COVID year, honors graduate from Velma Jackson High School. I have also graduated from Hines Community College in Utica, and I currently attend Alcorn State University. While in high school, like Pocket said, I wore many hats. I was TSA president, flag captain for all 4 years, a part of the AC 20 Plus Club, Beta Club Honor Scholar. I did a lot in the academy, and I also became an ambassador as well as an honor scholar for the academy, and also was awarded the Mississippi Tech Scholar at graduation. With all that being said, I was the first of my mother's children to graduate high school, as well as the first college graduate in my family. Started off going to Hines Community College in Utica. For a little background, this school was founded by William H. Hosclaw at a church that is right in the community of Utica in just the one room. So this is one of the two only HBCU community colleges in the state of Mississippi besides Kahoma. And my major was radio and television production and broadcast. I served as a resident assistant there. I was a part of the yearbook staff. I did Phi Theta Kappa, which is the honor society, which is a must that you join because you have lifelong people that will be there your whole way through your process, as well as you have scholarships that they offer every year that give you that little boost and that little extra money that you need in your pocket for school. I also was named a part of the All Mississippi Academic Team, which is a part of Phi Theta Kappa, which is a bigger honor within Phi Theta Kappa. I was also named outstanding student in my major, and I also served as a WHEC News 7 reporter as well as a producer. So I wore a lot of hats in Utica as well. Continuing on, I also served as NABJ, which is National Association of Black Journalists, vice president for 1 year, and I became president the next year. I also had different internships, which is if I must say, no matter what your major is, landing the internship is the best because you get a taste of their real world. So my freshman year, I was a part of the Devoted Dreamers internship, which we were the photography team. Pretty much, I served on the photography team, and I worked alongside with New Orleans Saints, Demario Davis. I got a chance to meet him and just get to know him one-on-one. I also had a federal internship with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, which is basically they work with the Army, they work with the military, and I basically did communication works for them. And I was able to write emails for a 5-star general while I was there. Concluding my Hines journey, I graduated a semester early. So I graduated in 2021. I was 4.0 GPA, so I was summa cum laude. And also, while at Hines, I was able to become an award-winning journalist, where it's a part of Mississippi Association of Broadcasters, and college students come together to compete on the work they have done the previous year. And I am glad to say that I am an award-winning journalist on the production that I did, which was a Black History production. Moving on, I also had a little adventure while at Hines. So I knew that because of the academy, it gives me a niche for photography, but I never just fully embarked on the moment in my talent. So while at Hines, I was able to launch my own photography business, which I still do to this day, just here and there, not too much, just something to make a little money on the side. But there's something I'm very passionate about that I really am going to venture into a little bit more as the years go on and as school lightens up a little bit. So yeah, I'm always saying, and people may beat me upside the head for it, but there is nothing wrong with 8 a.m. class. While I was in Utica, my classes went from 8 in the morning to 3 in the evening, and you had to get work done within that amount of time. And that's not including football games that we had to record, basketball games that start in 7, 6. So sometimes we'll be in class from, of course, you'll have a break for lunch, but we'll be in class from 8 that morning to 10 that night trying to get stories up. So I always say, why not? The early bird gets the worm. Why not just go ahead and knock out the way? And the rest of the time, you can just chill. And also here at Alcorn, this semester is a very lax schedule. So I have like an 8 o'clock class and a 9:30, and I'm done for the day. I can go do whatever. And of course, being on the college campus is always something to do. It's something to get into and entertain. So I always say go for the 8 a.m. classes. Now, with that also being said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with not going to college. I have a few friends that actually went to Utica with me that did not finish their programs or they did not get the degree that they wanted. And they actually have landed jobs. Like I know one guy that used to go to school with me, he actually works at Nissan now based on his little certificate that he got out of his trade program. And they hired him right on the spot. Nothing, you don't have to have a degree. Because I'm pretty sure everybody knows you can go drive trucks with a small education and make more money than I am and paying back loans and everything else. Now, before I get ahead of myself, let me go back a little bit because I did mention I did go to high school and college for free. So, with that being said, upon graduation of high school, of course, COVID broke out, but that was my time to get myself together and actually look into different scholarships because at that point, people were just giving out money. You can win a scholarship, and I didn't have to. I know one scholarship I won, it was like $2,000. I didn't have to write an essay, I just had to submit an application. Something simple. I won another scholarship recently, which was 1,000, and it was originally supposed to be 2,500 for two different people. And they was like, okay, based on what I read in your essay and your application, we're gonna give you the whole 1,000. We're not gonna worry about anybody else. We're gonna give you the whole 1,000 because this essay was like he told me this was one of the best essays he had ever written. He's ever heard of. Like I wrote, and I did that on the fly. I'm a college student, so I do a lot of things last minute, but not encouraging that behavior. But it's sometimes I produce my best work when I'm last minute. So moving on, I actually attend Alcorn State for free as well. Scholarships. Sometimes you have people here, they have foundation scholarships as well as Hines and Utica, as well as Hines in general. They have foundation scholarships where people don't mind giving you money at all. And you may be answering 3 or 4 simple questions like, what are your aspirations with this money? What is the real financial need here? Something simple, real generic.
Yeah,
so
there are millions of dollars that go unclaimed every year in the state of Michigan.
Yes. And even with these businesses like Nissan, CNN, they may be big, but they still offering something like NABJ, which is what I'm a part of now. They have a thing where they're offering $1,000 for like 25 people right now, which is big to be NABJ because it is a big organization. But it's something. A little goes a long way. You just never know. I always say, just take that leap of faith and apply because you just never know. You never know. Moving on to Alcorn, I am currently a mass communication major here. I also served as NABJ treasurer last year, and I have the honor to assume the position of president this year. I was also a part of WLBT 3 Great Media Training Center interns, which was we were the inaugural class. And this is a program that goes to HBCUs and pick students and it give that one-on-one experience in different departments within the news field. And you don't have to go in the news field. As I always say, there are people there to help guide you. You have mentors. Each department you go into, that take heed to what's going on, and they understand that you are a college student, and they give you advice, and it's very nice. Because like me personally, I may not want to go in news, but just to have that leg up against the next person is actually quite nice. And being that I'm from HBCU, we always, you have those speculations as well. But it was a nice program. I very much enjoyed it. You got to meet people from Jackson State, Valley. Who else did we have? We had people from Rust. So it was nice to meet people that you wouldn't meet on a day-to-day basis. I also am a part of the Becoming Her, which is a mentorship with younger girls in the local community. And I also serve as their event planner for that one. I also work at ASU 13 TV as a reporter and producer, as I did at WHUC News 7 in Utica. And I also serve on the yearbook committee. Uh, to be honestly real with you guys, Alcorn was not my first heart. It wasn't even my third spot. I had a chance to go to FAMU, which is Florida Agriculture and Mechanical University in Florida, but I decided to stay because I had that federal internship and that was a once in a lifetime opportunity that they don't offer much. So I decided to stay here. And I mean, I've been making the best of it. It may not have been the best decision, but it's all about what you make of it. Moving on. Tips for college students. Now, I've already said if you don't want to go to college, it's absolutely fine because people now make pick up trades and they make way more money than you will ever do with a master's degree. Keep that in mind. But for those who do want to go to school, the tips that I have came along was very much read your syllabus. Uh, College, they're not gonna hold your hand. They're gonna just let you know I got the syllabus and Canvas. It's up to you to read it. And when you come back, get ready to read chapter one because we moving right along. And you more than likely most of them give you like a syllabus quiz, which is real simple, not too much. Uh, but reading the syllabus is very important. Like now, I have a big calendar in my room, and I write down each date. Because most time, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna stick to that same date. They're not gonna veer from it. It's gonna be probably 2-3 days off from the date, but most times they're gonna stick to that date. Uh, get involved on campus. You can't have fun. You can't enjoy the college experience sitting in your room. You got to get involved. You got to get out and let people know what you're doing, who your major, because you just never know who you're running to. Never. You never know. I always say get out and deal with different events. And with that being said, there's events there's good behavior and events that's bad behavior. It's up to you to decide because at the end of the day, you're the growing adult. You should be able to make those decisions. And if you make a bad decision, you should be able to reflect on it and know how to go further. Use your free resources. I cannot stress that enough. I know for sure on the High Utica campus, they have a thing that's called student support services, where they actually get with the students and those that need financial help, they help. They can help pay your phone bill. I know they have a thing that's called Trio, where they provide like small Wi-Fi boxes, which were living in the country, we all know the Wi-Fi issue is horrendous. But you can take those and you can use the Wi-Fi at home when you need to do work, when you're out for the break, and you just return at the end of the semester. Like that's a huge perk, and I really hate that I did not get a chance to really just invest in it. I did get a chance to take a Wi-Fi box home though. That was nice. My next thing is if a teacher gives you extra credit, do it. It's not like high school where the extra credit really don't do much. Here, at Alcorn, I could definitely say extra credit can be your change from a C to an A if you actually do it. Now, is it going to really affect you if you don't know? But if you need the extra push, the extra boost, your teacher can see that you went the extra mile to get the extra credit. They won't mind bumping you up if you had a 79, you did the extra credit, you did everything you're supposed to do. They don't mind bumping you up to an 80 to get you that B because you went out your way to do the extra credit that most students don't do. Manage your time wisely. I can say, and as you all have seen, I am very busy. And managing time wisely to make sure you get this in, that in, while also having a social life, and it's a lot. But if you lay out your schedule, like I said, have a calendar, have a planner, uh, just lay it out in front of you and see what you got going each day of the week and what's going on campus, and just be able to dabble in everything, just manage it wisely. Because before you know it, time gets away from you, and it's the next day, and you got 5 assignments due this week that you didn't know nothing about because you didn't lay it out. You didn't manage your time wisely because you wanted to go to a party. Um, if you have a roommate, communicate. Now, while I was at Hines, I did serve as a resident assistant, which I had basically a private room to myself that most two people occupy when they come to school. Coming to Alcorn, I actually got my first roommate, she was sweet as pie, but the communication wasn't there. Like she may want to have friends over when I want to have friends over. So we ended up sitting down one day and just talking about, okay, it's okay if you have friends over. I'll let you know when I'm leaving. Because most time I left school, I wasn't here. I'll let you know when I'm leaving so you can have your friends over. All I just ask, don't respect my space and I respect your space as I look at it. Take care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. Take care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. Because me being a first generation high school graduate, a first generation college graduate, I had most times I figured stuff out on my own. So the mental aspect probably got away from me a lot more than I thought it did. And so when I had time to sit back and reflect, it was very much rejuvenating. And I can always say, make sure you take care of yourself mentally. And there's people here to help. And I have friends to help me along the process. But make sure you take care of yourself mentally because college is definitely something. You get introduced to the real world.
Yeah,
So
and
just imagine.
that goes back to the free resources because
Yep.
all these colleges are going to provide free free mental health therapy there on
Mm-hmm.
campus.
Yep. And we do have counselors here on campus as well as at Hines they had counselors. So it's always nice to take up those free resources because it's somebody outside looking in and they don't really know you and you just want to go talk. And that can help some people progress in where they are. Uh I also say surround yourself with goal driven people. All my friends, we have a mission when we leave college. We have a mission while we're here at college. Some day we usually take one day out the week, and we either have that day like to either do Bible study or we have that day just to come together and sit and talk and just talk about what's the plans after school. Because most of my friends are seniors, so they're graduating between this semester and next semester. So I like to sit and listen to them, just see where their head are when they want to work at and everything. Because one of my friends, she's a nurse and she's getting ready to go to nursing school after she graduates here, which I'm all for it. Nursing is not for me because it's a very competitive uh, major, but I'm hands down to her. I let her have that. And the most important thing for those who have those classes where it's a driven was very driven and very fast paced study. Come to the library. Most people here do not come to the library at all. And like now, I'm in the library because it's real quiet. You don't have most people here. You can take it's getting you out of your comfort zone in your room because most times, if you're in your room studying, you're gonna more likely fall asleep. Especially sitting in those benches, they're very comfortable. You're gonna fall asleep. So it's you should always get somewhere out of the norm, but also to yourself to give you some time to study and explain. With all that being said, I had a chance and opportunity to meet so many different people. And my phrase I always say now, every person is a new door to a different world. So in this left hand corner right here, you see me and another girl that is the Mario Davis. The Mario Davis when I was working with him with Devoted Dreamers internship. I also got to meet Howard Ballou, which is the highest paid African American in TV right now. And I also got a chance to work alongside with him when I was at my WLBT internship. Uh, I also had the opportunity to fly for the first time in my entire life, and I also got a chance to go to Vegas at the same time. So if you look down at the picture, the skyline was Vegas because we stayed on the strip, and Vegas is definitely where Vegas is. So I'm just gonna leave that on that day. But while at the NABJ conference, I got to meet Dougie Fresh, and he was just like a normal person walking around. So it was whoa, yeah, kind of experience. I also got a chance to meet Maggie Wade and work alongside her at WLBT, which she is one of the highest paid African American women in TV. So I got the best of both worlds at WLBT. And these two people at the bottom were people that I met alongside at NABJ, which was an NBCU recruiter for the internship for students who are in school and want to go out their way that's in New York. And we and her were talking, as well as I got to meet Mr. Lance, and he's a photographer in Louisiana, as well as he works at one of the TV stations in Louisiana. So making connections is everything to me, and that was what I was going to do in Vegas, and that's what I did. With all that being said, anybody have any questions for me?
Yeah, and again, that was some great stuff and really interesting. But what I wanted to talk briefly about before I get to the students' questions is you said you went to Hines for free. Now, tell me how you did that and what all that entailed.
So most of the times I did my FAFSA. Very important. Make sure you get your FAFSA done because it's a first come, first serve situation. So most of that money, lump sum of money, came from FAFSA, which is Mississippi money. Now I also had a chance to get the HELP grant, which is a grant that gives. I don't know if they no longer do it because they were talking about getting rid of it.
It's still there.
But it's still there. Okay. So I landed the 2020 on ACT, and they gave me basically $4,000 just to come to school. And when I transferred from Hines to Alcorn, they upped it up because it is a university and it does cost more to go here. So with those and then outside scholarships like foundation scholarship or resident assistant, which you basically had a private room, but you basically went to school for free because they covered your tuition. And who doesn't like free things? And not only you get stuff free, you have like refunds. And the refunds are not like no small amount of refunds. They're like, you know, a lot of money for somebody that's coming straight out of high school into the college where you're like, oh, okay, I got money in my pocket. So that's how I got to go to school free for a lot of it.
Yeah, and then and the baseline on that for the help grant is a 20 on the ACT. And I know they get sick of going over the ACT, they get sick of practicing it, but at the end of the day, it really is a test that depends on how that determines how much money you make as far as scholarships. Now, and then you said you went to Alcorn for free because you were a part of Phi Theta Kappa, and we've talked a lot about this in the past. The Phi Theta Kappa is the community college honor society. They have them at every community college in the state of Mississippi. So whether you go to Hines and Utica, Hines and Raymond, Holmes, East Central, Jones, Meridian, wherever, it is all there. And then these four-year universities honor that Phi Theta Kappa scholarship, and it's basically full tuition at a four-year university in the state of Mississippi for those last 2 years.
Yep. And then at Hines, speaking on ACT, because ACT is very important, I hate the ACT with a passion. Every time I took the ACT, I was able to take it for free. And the last time I took it, I made a promise to myself that I needed to make it 21 in order to land a scholarship from Hines, which is like an ACT scholarship, which they start honoring at 21. And I got my score back, and I was the happiest I could ever be because the scholarship was like $4,000 for the 2 years that I was there. So it was broken into 4 semesters, which is $1,000 a semester. And I ended up landing. So the ACT is very important, especially when it comes to those like a community college where they actually honor the ACT score and they push you to do that so they give you that money.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point too, because you could get the ACT scholarship on top of the help grant. So you could stack the scholarships, because you hear a lot of young people say, well, we can't really afford college, which I understand. But when you start stacking these scholarships up, it's amazing how much that total that you pay goes down. And then you mentioned the trades as well. These scholarships would also be good for the trade programs. So I know Hines and Utica has an unbelievable. Hines and Utica just built a brand new building for their cosmetology and some of the other programs. So that help grant would be good for that, and the ACT scholarships would be good for that. So if that's a route people are wanting to go on, the trade route, the ACT is still important. So if people watching now, watching later, if you want to do the trade side, that's great. But don't neglect the ACT because of that, because you can still learn a trade for free. And like you said, 19 years old, you're already making more money than a lot of people that are still in school. So that's very important to pay attention to that.
Very important. Very, very. And stacking scholarships, I always like to read my guidelines when it comes to applying to certain scholarships, because some scholarships I can definitely say are a waste of time, because if you're only offering one $25,000 scholarship to $25,000 scholarship to 1,000 people and only one person is going to get it, let's be realistic. There's 9 times out of 10 you're not going to get that, but maybe 25 people can get 2,500. A little is something. It's not just, it's a little amount. 2,500 may not seem like a lot, but it's a lot when you don't want to pay for school and you don't want to take out loans. So I can definitely say that.
Yeah. And before I get to the students' questions, I do want to talk about Alcorn, because even though it is an HBCU, it is a very diverse campus. And I think one misconception is that people think historically Black means it's exclusively Black, and that's not the case. There's a big Asian population there. There's a European population, African population. And then you have African Americans from literally all over the country there on that little campus in Lorman. So talk a little bit about the diversity of the campus and of the staff and of the students, because I think some people kind of shy away from the HBCU because they say, I want a more diverse environment, which I understand, but HBCUs are a lot more diverse than people might realize.
Yes. I actually had a classmate. He graduated last semester, I want to say. He was African. He was actually from Africa. And we had a chance to sit and talk and had a conversation. It was like I have never been to Africa, but you only hear stories because you just only hear stories. So like to get a chance to talk to him and to get where his mindset is and how career driven that he was. And I want to say he actually works for NASA.
Wow.
After getting out of, or he works for a top firm or something like that now. I'm not sure. Once graduation hit, there was a lot going on. So he actually worked top of his class to be from Africa. And I was like, oh wow. Not only that, you have different people here. Like you never know different people's background. You never know how much you can really relate to somebody until you just talk to them. So you cannot have that misconception of what people have put in your ear, because there are some nice people and very diverse people here. And you'll get that on any university campus, not only Alcorn, Jackson State, Ole Miss. It's just very diverse here. So yeah, the people I have ran into, is actually nice to have a conversation. And they actually have like a little club here for like I forgot what they call it. It's something for Africans
Oh,
who
cool.
basically study abroad, and they come and they get together and they have like little parties and things here. So it's really nice.
Yeah, and you talked about getting involved on campus. Everybody knows about the fraternities and sororities, and they're all fun and stuff too. But
Mm-hmm.
there, even if you don't want to do that, there's literally clubs for everything.
Everything. Like they have modeling
If you want to
clubs
start
here.
one, you want to start one, they'll let you start it.
Yep, they have a modeling club here. They have, well, my organization, NABJ, which I have taken a hold of to grow. They also have collegiate women, which is basically like a club for women, and they just basically do women empowerment, and also they do a lot of community service out here. They also have Impact, which they do a lot of community service. So a lot of these organizations that get together, they have community services for people that want to pledge and everything else. But besides all that, those organizations, when you get deep down into it, how they started, it's amazing because most of them are started by students, and they are so big now that you would never think a student started that.
Yeah, and the networking aspect of that, because on top of the degree, having a person in the field that you can communicate with can be a
Mm-hmm.
great pipeline into a potential career.
Yep, that's
Um,
very true.
I do have some great questions from the students, and these are all juniors.
Okay,
The first one is Anari in Mayfield, and he asked, "What made you choose Alcorn, and what made you decide on your major?"
let's go to the major part first. So my major, I don't even know how it transpired. But I started off as a nursing major. Like I really wanted to do nursing because I always wanted to help people. And when I got to looking into the logistics of nursing, I was like, this is a long process, and this is a long amount of time to be in school. But hands down to everybody that's a nurse, a doctor, I give it to them because that's a long progress process. And I think the academy kind of pushed me into my major because it showed that I could do video work that I didn't really think I could do. And so when the former teacher of the academy, Miss Galley, me and her got together and we were talking, and we got to talking to the professor up here in Utica. He was like, he would love to have me. And I was like, it's COVID. I don't know what I need to do, but I'm going to go to school. I'm not finna sit at home. So that's kind of how I grew into my major. Like I stated earlier, Alton wasn't originally my first or third decision. It kind of was a last minute thought because it was right here at home. They can accept me. I was already accepted. I just need to do financial aid and everything else. So, I mean, it wasn't what I wanted, but I'm making the best of the situation, as I always say. But if I had a chance to choose, I would pretty much go to FAMU. But with FAMU, if I had to trade right now, I would go to FAMU because they have the top news department in Florida, and they have great opportunities and to be at HBCU. So yeah.
Yeah, for anybody interested in that, a lot of these sports reporters you see on TV went to
Yeah.
FAMU. Great journalism school. But also, you mentioned with nursing. Just a quick aside, because we have some people interested in nursing.
Mm-hmm.
Alcorn State nursing program is phenomenal, but it is actually
Oh
located in
yes.
Natchez.
Yeah,
It's
it's actually
right on the
located in
main campus.
Natchez.
So you could, if you wanted to, you could do the first 2 years in Lorman and then transfer
Mm-hmm.
to the nursing school in Natchez. And we have a couple students down there right now, Raja Johnson and Alexia Hutchins.
Mm-hmm.
They are enjoying it. They do have a dorm there and everything. So it's not out in the middle of the country like Alcorn is. You're actually in the city of Natchez, right there on the Mississippi River. Actually, really cool campus there. So that is something else that Alcorn has to offer. This is a good question. This is to Noah Thompson, and he asked, out of all the activities you participated in, which one do you cherish the most?
All activities, like from college to, like from high to everything. The one organization I have definitely took to long and took heed to is NABJ because I had a chance, like that going to Vegas. Like I cannot stress it enough. You just have to be there, like to walk amongst some of the people that's in the top game right now in the news industry. Like they even had a point where you could actually interview for CNN, ESPN, the Weather Channel. They had on-site interviews right there in Vegas. And when I saw that, my interest grew. That's why I decided here that I was going to take on the president position and let others see what I saw when I went to Vegas. Like that big, like aha, like a kid in the candy store moment. That's definitely one organization I'm definitely proud of because I can definitely say that I'm getting ready to spearhead a couple of events now that we're going to have, like we're giving back to the community where we'll go to the elementary schools and actually produce videos for them, as well as we'll bring the middle school and high school out here to show them what we do on day-to-day basis when it's reporting, photography, and have a little fun with it, of course. So yeah, I can definitely say NABJ is one of the organizations I have definitely taken to heart.
Yeah, and they are a very fast growing organization as well. This is Carl Wilson, and he asked, "What advice would you give to your younger self?"
The advice I would give to my younger self is don't stress. It's okay if it doesn't turn out the right way. It's okay. Don't stress about it. It's always an alternative. It's always an alternative. I could definitely say that because the biggest stress that I had just basically transitioning from Hines to Alcorn, of course, it's a 2 year to a 4 year. When you in my honest opinions, transfers do not have it very easy because a lot of people don't know how to just properly deal with transfers because they transfer them, they have credits here, and you're coming over it. You're not here like you was here from your freshman to your senior year. So I can definitely say that was a hassle in itself, as well as not knowing where to go after Hines because Hines is like a home away from home. I always call it my mini Velma Jackson because the family there, the family, they're not staff, they're a family because they're gonna get to know you one on one. You go in their office and just have a casual conversation at any given time. They'll give you, of course, me working for a news station, they'll give you an interview. I don't have to hassle you for an interview. They're willing to talk. They're willing to give you what you need as well as help your mental because I did talk to them a lot with that going on. So yeah, don't stress about it. It's okay. It's gonna work itself out. And I
Yeah,
always say a good prayer, as I definitely can say.
yeah, and it's like you said, if you know if you want the HBCU experience, but you want to do the junior college route first, Hines Utica would be a
Mm-hmm.
a great place for that. And Hines and Raymond also is a little bit bigger, but
Mm-hmm.
it also has the a small atmosphere where you're not just thrown into a huge environment. Because even me going to Madison Central, it was tough for
Mm-hmm.
me to adjust to life at Southern Miss in a hurry because it's just like you don't understand the amount of people that
Yeah,
you're
it's like
in the middle of. It is very difficult for everybody. So that is a great option. I just got two more. This is
okay.
Solaria Kessler, and she asked, "What was more important in getting your scholarship to a 4 year college, your ACT or your clubs and organizations?"
When I came here, my HIP grant transferred from my community college because that's where I started. So it basically transferred over to my 4 year, as well as my FAFSA transferred over. So when I got here, I just landed a foundation scholarship. So they have a thing, they have a phase one and phase two. So phase one usually happens in the fall when you first get here for those that need money. You need to apply before the fall semester actually really starts because then they're going to award something most times either over the summer or right before the semester starts. And then they have a phase two, which is in the spring for those who need a little extra money just to go and finish up their degree. So I can definitely say a little bit of both because people always like, and especially when you are awarded scholarships, they would love for you to write thank you letter and just saying what you really need this for. Because sometimes you say what you want to say, but then when you write the thank you letters after receiving it and actually seeing the money in your account, you get a little more detail with some people because those thank you letters actually go to the people who wrote your scholarship. You may not get to see them physically, but they actually get those thank you letters. So I definitely say it's like a balance to have organizations under your belt that you have done and different things that you do in school, not rather just coming to school, partying and lay down in the dorms. Actually doing things at school gives them the extra push, like, okay, she's well deserving of this. Like, why not just go ahead and do it? And of course, the ACT is also a big thing. I didn't land an ACT scholarship here, but I know that if you get a 22, you can get like $4,000 here for the 4 years that you're here. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And I didn't apply for it in time. But most of that is left up for the freshmen and sophomores. That's not really given to like juniors and seniors like that, unless you already have it.
Yeah, but again, getting it just to go to the community college and then
You
getting the PTK, that can open doors for you and save you thousands upon thousands of dollars. I just got the
Mm-hmm.
last one. This is Fred Johnson, and he asked, "What made you pursue photography, and what made you want to stick to it, and what do you see yourself gaining from it?"
Photography just it always when I first picked up a camera in the academy, it always just did something to me. Just having a camera, not only photography, video work, because I love being able to create a video from scratch to a final product that the actual person loves. Because I have done a lot of those, and that's just on my free time. That's just like a little hobby that I like to do. Um, Photography gives me that sense of I'm just happiness to see other people happy, smiling big when you capturing moments like this that they'll have for a lifetime. Just warms my heart because that's just the person that I am. Besides the go getter that I am, deep down inside, I am a nice person. I love people, and people love me back. I love that. So just being able to just do photography and capture those moments is like I love it because I can go back in my computer now and I can look at where I started and where I am now and where I really want to go. With that being said, I always said that I want to own my own photography company. And that even if that's a little small company for me to start, just something to do on the side, of course, with other work that I do. But I'm really looking forward to building my photography career. And I actually am working with somebody that's in Atlanta who does a lot of he captures a lot of the protests, which is a kind of uh, intense moments. And I also want to try to branch out into that because I do like videography as well, not only just photography, which they go hand in hand still. But definitely with my photography, I wish to get just a tad bit bigger, not too big, just something that's just like a hobby for me. But it does to create memories. That's the best thing I can
With
say with
graduation's
photography.
coming up, with graduations coming up, you're definitely somebody that
Mm-hmm.
can call for some graduation pictures. Now, we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for making some time for us. But, it's always, I always like to say, you were walking these same halls, sitting in these same
Mm-hmm.
with these same teachers in the same community, growing up in similar circumstances. But yet,
Mm-hmm.
you got to go to Las Vegas. You're all over the place right now, meeting all kind of people, rubbing shoulders with important people.
Yep.
And you did it with the exact same amount of resources that these kids have now, or even the ones, even the ones at the other schools,
Mm-hmm.
all have the same amount of resources, but it's all about how you do it. So, what advice would you give them to be able to follow in the footsteps of people like you that have come through our all of our schools?
Never take no for an answer. Never. If, when you're gonna get 50,000 no's. I can definitely say that. And I'm a big person. When you tell me no, that kind of hurts my heart. But I know that if it's a passion for me, I'm not going to stop until I get that yes. So, and then also, not only that, you have teachers there that have been through the same process that you're getting ready to do, and to get connected with those people. Because, like, even now, I go back and talk to Miss Mill, of course, about my college journey, and I talk to Miss Gowdy, who I'm still in cahoots with, and I talk to you, of course. Just you never know what one person can help you do, and that little step that they help you do to get to that next step is always nice. And I always say, don't worry about where you came from. It's about where you're about to go. And what skills do you have that the next person does not have that you can each one teach one. I always say that. Always humble yourself because there's always somebody out there that's better than you. Don't get me wrong. But there's something that they lack and that you have and vice versa. And you can exchange it and help the next person go. And that's the best way I can say
I love it.
it.
Well, Mekiyla Brown, 2020 graduate of Velma Jackson High School, graduate of Himes Community College, current student at Alcorn State. We are so proud to call you an alumni. Just amazing to see the things you're doing, and we thank you so much for making some time for us today.
Thank you. I hope you guys enjoy.
Talk to you soon, buddy.
Bye.
All right, see you.